This video will only find you when you most need it. Not earlier, not later, only now. In the exact moment your soul is finally ready to hear what your mind has been avoiding. Because there are moments in life when you don't go searching for answers. The answers come searching for you. They find you in your heaviness, in your confusion, in that strange in-between place where something inside you is shifting but you can't explain how or why. On the outside, you may look fine, functioning, moving, doing what's expected, but on the inside, something is collapsing. Something is dissolving. Something is telling you, you can't go on like this. You've outgrown something, a habit, a season, a relationship, an identity, but you haven't yet stepped into what comes next. So life brought you here, not by luck, not by coincidence, by alignment. Because right now, you need a reminder of who you are beneath the noise. You need clarity in a season that feels foggy. You need direction when everything around you feels directionless. And whether you realize it or not, a part of you has been quietly asking for this. So let this message reach the part of you that's tired of pretending, the part of you that's exhausted from carrying emotions you never talked about, the part of you that knows something has to change, even if you don't know what yet. And before this message ends, something inside you will shift, not dramatically, not loudly, but subtly, like a lock finally clicking open after years of resistance. There's a strange thing that happens right before your life changes. You feel it long before you see it. You can't explain it to anyone, not even to yourself. You just wake up one day and something feels off. People who once felt familiar suddenly feel distant. Conversations that used to excite you now feel draining. Places you once fit into now feel too small for you. It's not depression, it's not mood swings, it's not you becoming cold or different, it's alignment. Your spirit always senses the shift before your mind catches up. It knows when a season is ending even before the signs appear. It knows when a chapter is closing even before you turn the page. It knows when something in your life is no longer allowed to grow with you. And the reason you've been feeling disconnected, restless, or strangely uncomfortable is because the old you is trying to hold on while the new you is trying to break through. You're not losing interest. You're outgrowing what no longer matches who you're becoming. And that discomfort, that tension, that heaviness you can't quite name, it's the universe rearranging your life from the inside out. You don't see the shift yet, but you feel it. You don't know what's coming, but something inside you does. You're sensing the ending before the beginning arrives. The only reason it feels confusing is because you're standing in the doorway between what was and what will be. Life removes things before it replaces them. One of the hardest truths you'll ever learn is this: life takes things away before it gives you better ones. Growth doesn't start with addition, it starts with subtraction. Before clarity comes, confusion increases. Before alignment arrives, misalignment is exposed. Before new people enter your life, the wrong ones fade out. Before you step into who you're becoming, everything connected to who you were begins to fall apart. And that's why your life feels unstable right now. Not because something is wrong, but because something is being cleared. Think about it. You can't hold on to a season that's ending and expect the next one to bloom. You can't cling to comfort and still ask for transformation. You can't stay surrounded by what drains you and still pray for peace. So life starts removing things silently. The friend who suddenly stops showing up. The relationship that no longer feels aligned. The conversations that feel forced. The habits that no longer bring satisfaction. The places that no longer feel like home. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Life is pulling you away from what cannot go with you into your next level. And here's the part no one tells you. The removal hurts, even when it's right. You'll question it, resist it, even try to revive the very things that were suffocating your growth. Because losing the familiar, even when it's unhealthy, is painful. But the unfamiliar you're stepping into, that's where your real life begins. The shift you're feeling is not the end of something meaningful. It's the clearing required for something meaningful to begin. And that's why this video found you now, right when you're standing in the space between what you're losing and what you're about to receive. Your soul is trying to talk to you. There's a reason you've been feeling so disconnected lately. A reason your emotions feel heavier. A reason nothing feels the same, even though nothing dramatic has happened. It's because your soul has been trying to get your attention. You've been moving, working, pushing, showing up, But inside, something has been whispering, "Slow down. Listen. Something isn't right." And you've ignored that whisper for a long time. Not because you don't care, but because life trained you to keep going even when your spirit is breaking. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. Your soul will let you function in misalignment for a season, but not forever. Eventually, the fatigue shows up. The irritability shows up. The emptiness shows up. The sudden urge to withdraw shows up. The frustration with things you used to tolerate shows up. And when you ignore the gentle whispers, your soul starts speaking louder. You lose interest in people who drain you. You feel anxious in places that aren't meant for you. You outgrow environments that no longer reflect your evolution. You feel disconnected from the version of yourself you've been performing. This isn't depression. This isn't you changing. This isn't you being difficult. This is alignment. This is evolution. This is your soul refusing to stay silent anymore. It's trying to guide you somewhere your old self cannot go. And that's why you found this video. Because right now, at this exact point in your journey, you needed confirmation for something you already felt but couldn't describe. You're not falling apart. You're shedding. The heaviness isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of awakening. Your spirit is outgrowing the spaces your body is still standing in. You're being pulled toward the life you're meant to live. Here's the truth almost nobody understands until they're forced to. When your soul is ready to evolve, your life will start rearranging itself, with or without your permission. Opportunities will close, people will leave, doors you were once convinced were meant for you will suddenly lock, and everything in you will panic, thinking you're losing your way. But you're not. You're being redirected, because what you've been calling loss is actually protection. What you've been calling confusion is actually clarity in disguise. What you've been calling setbacks are actually the stepping stones to your alignment. You see, your old life was built from survival, from habits you outgrew, from expectations that were never yours, from versions of yourself you developed just to be accepted. But the life you're moving into, it requires a different version of you, a truer version, a stronger version, a more conscious version. You can't carry your old patterns into a new destiny. You can't carry old wounds into new blessings. You can't carry old relationships into a future that wasn't designed for them. So life begins the uncomfortable work of removing away anything that can't sustain the person you're becoming. It feels like everything is collapsing, but in reality, everything is being rebuilt, piece by piece, layer by layer, quietly, silently, intentionally. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. And the reason you're feeling this message so deeply right now is because some part of you already knows. You're not who you were last year, and you're not yet who you're meant to become. You're in the hallway between two lives. And even though the hallway is dark, you're not lost. You're transitioning. Everything you're feeling is the sign you're evolving. The confusion, the fatigue, the sudden urge to be alone, the irritation with things you once tolerated, the emotional waves that hit you out of nowhere. None of it is random. None of it is weakness. None of it is failure. It's transformation. Before a breakthrough, your spirit becomes louder. Before clarity arrives, the noise increases. Before elevation, separation happens. Before alignment, everything misaligned falls apart. This is why your emotions have been unpredictable. This is why nothing feels the same. This is why your old life feels too tight, too small, too heavy. You're not supposed to fit there anymore. Your spirit is stretching. Your identity is shifting. Your energy is rising. Your purpose is waking up. And the signs are everywhere. You don't resonate with certain people anymore. You feel disconnected from the version of yourself you performed for years. You're craving peace more than attention. You're choosing solitude over noise. You're questioning everything you use to blindly accept. You feel strangely done with a chapter you haven't even closed yet. That's not you becoming cold. That's you becoming conscious. You're shedding layers you were never meant to carry. You're releasing expectations that were never yours. You're letting go without knowing what comes next. And that's exactly what transformation feels like. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It's internal. It's sacred. And it's happening to you right now. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you. Because you needed someone to tell you the truth. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. What you're stepping into will make sense of everything you're losing. You're being guided more than you realize. If you look closely, you'll notice something. Even in the chaos, you haven't been abandoned. Even in the confusion, something has been holding you together. Even in the moments you felt completely lost, you somehow ended up exactly where you needed to be. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's guidance. You've been protected from rooms that couldn't hold your growth. You've been redirected away from people who would have slowed your evolution. You've been pulled out of situations that looked good on the surface but were silently draining your spirit underneath. And yes, it felt painful. Yes, it felt unfair. Yes, it felt like you were being pushed into the unknown. But think about it. How many times did life remove something you were begging to keep, only for you to later realize it was the one thing holding you back? How many times did you think you were being rejected, but you were actually being redirected? How many times did something fall apart, only for something better to fall into place? You don't see the full picture yet, but the guidance has been there the whole time. In the moments you were confused, you were being protected. In the moments you felt stuck, you were being repositioned. In the moments you felt alone, you were being prepared. Your future self is already thanking you for the things you're letting go of right now. Because where you're going requires clarity. It requires emotional honesty. It requires a version of you that trusts the process even when the process feels uncomfortable. And whether you realize it or not, you've already been walking toward that version of you. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not lost. You're being led. Step by step, shift by shift, moment by moment. This video didn't appear randomly. It appeared because your soul was ready to hear the confirmation your mind has been denying. You are exactly where you're meant to be, even if it doesn't look like it yet. You're becoming someone your old life wasn't built for. There's a reason your old habits haven't been working, a reason your old coping mechanisms suddenly feel empty, a reason the old version of you feels gone. It's because you're becoming someone new, someone your previous life wasn't designed to support. You're no longer motivated by the same things. You're no longer impressed by what you used to chase. You're no longer satisfied with surface-level connections, conversations, or purposes. Your spirit is demanding more now. More honesty, more depth, more alignment, more peace, more truth, more meaning. And the things that once distracted you, comforted you, entertained you, or validated you don't hit the same anymore. Why? Because you're evolving out of the life that was built by survival into a life that will be built by consciousness. You're becoming too aware to tolerate what drains you, too intuitive to stay in places that dim you, too awakened to pretend you're okay with what never felt right. This is why you feel out of place. This is why nothing familiar feels familiar anymore. This is why the life you once fit into feels foreign now. Your growth has exceeded your environment, and that's not something to fear. That's something to honor. Because when you reach a point where you can no longer shrink yourself to stay comfortable, that's when you're truly ready for the life meant for you. You're not being pushed out. You're being lifted out. You're outgrowing what was temporary so you can step into what is meant to last. And the discomfort you're feeling isn't a sign that you're failing. It's the exact sign that you're expanding. Your old life can't hold you anymore. That's why the shift feels so intense. Because you're crossing the invisible line between who you were and who you're becoming. This moment in your life is not an accident. It's a threshold. There comes a point in every person's journey where life stops being about what you used to want and starts becoming about what you're truly meant for. You are standing in that exact moment right now. That's why your emotions feel louder. That's why your intuition feels stronger. That's why your old life feels too small. That's why your spirit feels restless, hungry, unsettled. You've reached a threshold, a spiritual doorway that only opens when you're ready to become the version of yourself you've avoided becoming for years. And here's the part people never talk about. Your breakthrough never arrives in a moment of strength. It arrives in a moment of surrender. Not when you feel powerful, but when you feel tired. Not when everything is clear, but when nothing makes sense. Not when you feel confident, but when you finally admit you can't keep living the same way. Breakthroughs don't show up when life is stable. They show up when life feels like it's unraveling. Because unraveling is the first stage of rebuilding. And that's what's happening to you right now. You're not collapsing. You're unfolding. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. You're not losing direction. You're being rerouted. Everything that feels like loss is actually release. Everything that feels like uncertainty is actually transition. Everything that feels like ending is actually initiation. This video didn't find you because you're weak. It found you because you're crossing into a new level of your life. The version of you that's emerging needed this moment of clarity, this reminder, this push, this confirmation that you're not crazy and you're not alone. You're shifting, you're awakening, you're stepping into a chapter that your old self could never reach. That's why everything feels different. That's why everything feels unfamiliar. That's why everything feels like it's changing. Because it is. And because you're ready. Your future is calling you, and your soul is answering. There's a future version of you that already exists. Stronger, clearer, more aligned, more alive than you've ever been. That version of you has been whispering to you for months. Sometimes softly, sometimes urgently. Sometimes through exhaustion, sometimes through restlessness. Every discomfort you've felt lately has been your future self pulling you forward. Every ending has been a doorway. Every separation has been protection. Every closed chapter has been divine timing. Nothing you've lost was meant to stay, and nothing meant for you will ever require you to betray yourself to keep it. You're moving into a season where your peace will become non-negotiable. Your purpose will become clearer. Your intuition will speak louder. Your boundaries will strengthen. Your relationships will shift toward depth and authenticity. Your spirit will no longer tolerate what it once endured. And if this feels overwhelming, remember this. You prayed for change. You asked for clarity. You begged for a sign. You said, something has to shift. Something has to give. This is that shift. This is that sign. This is the moment everything begins to align in ways you can't yet see. Your future is not waiting somewhere out there. It's unfolding right here, in the decisions you're making, in the people you're releasing, in the intuition you're finally listening to, in the life you're slowly but courageously walking toward. You are not being forced into the unknown. You are being guided into the life you were always meant to live. And the heaviness you feel right now, it's the weight of old chapters falling off your shoulders so you can finally carry the new ones. You're not late, you're not behind, you're not missing anything. You're becoming. And the universe makes sure that when a soul is becoming, the right message arrives at the right time. That's why you're here. That's why this video found you. Your next chapter is waiting, and this moment is your first step into it. If you're still here, if you watched until this moment, then take this as your confirmation. You were meant to hear this today. Not by luck, not by timing, but by alignment. You've been carrying questions you didn't know how to ask. You've been holding emotions you didn't know how to release. You've been standing at a threshold you didn't know how to step through. And now, you're not standing there alone. This message was the doorway, the clarity, the mirror, the reminder that you're not lost, you're evolving. So before you go, breathe, and trust what your soul already knows. Your next chapter is not coming. You're already walking into it. And if this spoke to something deep inside you, if you felt a pull, a shift, a sense of finally someone understands, then I want you to do one thing. Drop "I'm ready" in the comments. Not for me, for you. As a declaration, as a signal to your future, as a moment where you stop doubting and start aligning. Because the truth is simple. The life you're meant to live is calling you, and you're finally ready to answer.